Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns, and the CEO and founder of Tier 11, alongside my amazing Chicago originally, but Wisconsin-based co-host,
Lauren E. Petrullo, who's physically in Chicago today, but New York tomorrow and Washington on Friday.
Oh, I thought you were from Wisconsin. We had all this Chicago talk. Oh, he came back. Okay.
I'm in the bedroom I grew up in, yes.
That's awesome. Where in the world is Lauren? Lauren's in Chicago right now. Well, you were in Wisconsin last week. It's hard to keep track of you. Today, we're going to get right into it because we don't have any time to waste. We really don't. We're just going to get right into the whole show. No rapport, no witty repartee, all the things that people probably like change and move over to another podcast when they start hearing us ranting about our certain things. Apparently, that's not the case, though. Because our last show, we were talking about the 5 health hacks, which you didn't want to put hacks in there, by the way, in the title. But now it's like one of our more popular shows, which is kind of crazy. We're going to be getting right into something tactical here, which is huge news that came out, which was leaked. I wouldn't even say leaked. It was intimated back on February 4th of this past year. And I don't think a lot of people really took it all that seriously, is that Meta has changed yet again. Drum roll, please. This time it looks like they ain't going back. So, Lauren, drop the bomb here, drop the news. What has changed inside the Meta ad platform? And then we'll talk about what the hell marketers should do about it.
Essentially, Advantage Plus is becoming more or less advantageous to those Meta advertisers, depending on which side of the line you reside on.
So everything that you're going to do from here on in is Advantage Plus. Like Meta is going Advantage Plus. They've gone full advantage. Question is it an advantage? That might be a good title for the show. Is Advantage Plus really an advantage? So let's go right into Ads Manager and actually show you what we're talking about here. Because I haven't actually screened this account because this might be one that still is manual and on full-on Advantage Plus. So we will see. I love it when we just do live demos and we have no idea what's on the other side here. All right, so we are inside. We're inside, obviously, Meta Ads Manager. This is probably going to be blurred out here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a campaign. And just to give you an idea, if you have not been in there, obviously campaign objective, we've got awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, sales. A lot of people would produce or would choose sales here, which is the former conversions-based campaign. And we go over, we click continue. Let's see, we still actually do have the manual setup here. So surprise, surprise, this is the area that we see in other ad accounts, which is going away. You can't do manual anymore. So right here is Advantage Plus Shopping campaign. So Advantage Plus Shopping is obviously one of the many Advantage Pluses. I don't know how many there are. I think there's like 5 or 6 or 7 of them. And
Placement, was supposed creative, to be budget, yeah, all the different pieces.
All the different pieces. So it defaults to Advantage Plus Shopping campaign here. And if you're just listening to this, you're out walking the dog or you're on the treadmill at the gym listening, I highly recommend that you head on over to our YouTube channel over on perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube so you can see exactly what we're doing here. But anyway, we're inside the Ads Manager. The first thing you do, choose your objective. We obviously show sales. We have 2 options here. We've got manual setup, which we can still do, but in a lot of the other ad accounts, that is not there anymore. It disappears and you choose this one only, which is Advantage Plus Shopping, or really Advantage Plus. We just showed you a legacy account in which you have both. However, that is going to be deprecated over the course of the next couple of weeks as of this recording here, which is right at the end of April. So what we're seeing here on this screen is what all ad accounts are going to look like within the next couple of weeks. Literally, some have already migrated over.
So when you go to the sales objective and you continue forward, you're going to have this message that reads in front of you of where you can't choose anything, but you want to.
Yeah. So it's just called Advantage Plus Sales Campaign as opposed to Advantage Plus Shopping, which you had an option to be able to do that before and you don't. However, this does say manual options are still available. So I wonder if that
where you
will
can
start.
go in and make the edits, but that's going to be available for only so long. It's like the same thing that they did with the tailored campaigns. It's just now, instead of the tailored campaigns before, which is where it did all that manual setup and you lost so much, it's going to have this, it's going away. Trying to make this as the Advantage Plus only, but theoretically speaking, crystal ball, tin hat foil, Meta has rolled out stuff and had to roll it back because I believe they're doing this specifically for smaller advertisers. So if you're spending less than $1,000 to $5,000 a day, this is going to be advantageous for you. My personal opinion, my personal feelings is unless you are spending like $1 million a month, this isn't going to be what's working now.
I don't know. The people on my team are like, they're torn between the two sides at this point because Advantage Plus is a supplemental campaign just to begin with. However, because the creative is going to be so heavily weighed here, we'll just sort of show as we build this. Some of my team is actually excited about it. Now, provided that we also have what we refer to as happy custom events, which is something that we'll talk about here on the show. I believe that episode is coming up in a week or so, which we can talk about it even more. But that is when you're actually optimizing for one specific product in your product catalog, as opposed to the entire purchase for your entire catalog. So there's advantages and disadvantages, but we'll have to see how all that turns out. So here we are inside Advantage Plus shopping campaigns. As you can see, this is all of our stuff here. Audience location, audience segment reporting. You've got your daily budget, you got your start date. What are we missing here?
I think it's important to note that on the left-hand side, you only have the campaign and then you have your assets collection. So it's your audience, ad set, and ads is in one single place. It's going by the name of data set, where if you're over, I want to say like 6-7 months ago, if you're calling it a pixel, it's no longer a pixel, it's called a data set. Inside of business manager settings, there's still the line item for pixels, but that'll be empty because your pixels get changed into a data set. Essentially what they're doing is they're reorganizing everything. It's no longer a business manager, you have the business portfolio. So it's this huge rollout where they're trying to be more efficient and clean house. But
it's going full automation. So under here, you can actually see your presets. And then there is obviously, are you going to the website and shop, or are you going to website? You're going to website and app, maximize number of conversions, maximize value of conversions. We don't really use that as much as we used to. And then there's audience location, which is obviously the country in which you're going to be targeting. Specifically, you can exclude some of your locations. Your audience segment this is a very interesting section right here. Audience segment reporting. Define your ad accounts, audience segments, and advertising settings to receive reporting or breakdowns between new audiences, engaged audiences, and existing audiences.
We did a whole episode on this a few weeks ago where it was showing how the engaged audience and the active customers helps. So you see one in where Meta is claiming that these are cold audiences, but actually are they? But it's being brought in the ads manager section of where you're doing the ad creation versus it living in isolation in the audiences and then having to bring it in on the dashboard with this Meta. But watching it on YouTube, or you can obviously see we're talking about, for those just listening, inside what is the ad set combined ad aspect of the campaign itself. We're starting to see that being layered in because Meta's listening and saying like the things that matter for us to understand the conversion impact of an in-app ROAS or performance is what is our view through conversion versus click through conversion, and then who are the audiences? Are they representative of truly cold audiences? Are they engaged, or are they current customers?
What I'm not seeing here is I'm not seeing ads set. We're going, here's campaign level, right? Where's my audiences?
Your audiences are now, that's where you only have two. Your ads and your ad set go into the same one because you're using an Advantage Plus audience. So with Advantage Plus audience, I don't love it as much anymore. One, you couldn't exclude before. So part of this new review is you're finally able to properly exclude, in theory, audiences, which you haven't been able to do before. When you're doing Advantage Plus, everything is just a mere suggestion. but the audience and the ad itself is combined into one place. And because it's an Advantage Plus audience, you have very little control over who you're introducing into the audience. But the reality is you didn't have control before anyways. Now they're just streamlining it and making it clear. Whereas before it was like kind of subterfuge. You're like, wait, why do I have warm audiences in this Advantage Plus cold? Why are you going after people that are a different gender or a different age group than what I'm recommending? Like that kind of stuff is now more obviously disregarded.
So a lot of your targeting options, all of a sudden you don't have. It's releasing control back to the algorithm. And you're uploading, and we didn't really do it here in this short demo here today, but you're uploading all of your creative, all of your ad copy, all of your video, images, you name it, all into what sort of kind of looks like the ad set, but it's you're building the ad. And that's a huge difference right there, because now you have zero control over what combination thereof is going to be the one that's ultimately going to reach your customer wherever they are in your customer journey. So you're giving up a lot of control here, which I think is going to be frightening for a lot of advertisers.
I think it'll be frightening for a lot of advertisers and a godsend for others. Like, again, those that are doing smaller budgets, you're a solopreneur, you don't have a lot of resources like an agency to support you. This is making it easier. It's the in-between boosting a post on Instagram and doing a full-fledged campaign in Ads Manager. But with this, like dynamic creative is going away because now this is what the new place is. So if you're used to doing DCA, like you didn't have a lot of control because they would serve whichever combination made the most sense. Now what's good here is you have the intersection of video and static. You also have the opportunity to see on other conversion styles. So I know we're looking at like purchases or apps, but even on the lead form side, further things that they're doing is that there was an update, I want to say 3 weeks ago, where they're actually now changing the order of your questions and potentially removing questions from your lead form if it's going to generate, in theory, a higher quality, lower cost lead on Meta. But I'm obsessed with asking a lot of questions on lead form, so I don't love that. I'm okay with reorganizing, not with removing. But the whole purpose of this is Meta's trying to remove barriers, decrease friction, eliminate the burdens of operations, and make it where you're like, hey, Meta, here's what I have. Make me some money, please.
I do think that custom conversions or custom events become very important here all of a sudden, because if you can optimize your ads for a specific conversion, not just a generalized like standard event purchase, you can actually optimize for individual products and then have exclusions potentially for those previous customers for that particular product. This could be a way to arrest some of the control back, because you want to be finding those individual audiences for your specific product. Let's say you have 6 SKUs, you sell 6 different supplements, somewhat related. And we'll have an example of this in a future show here, is that all of a sudden now, instead of just trying to find the same customer for all 6 products that maybe has bought product number 4 and now is going to buy product number 1, having your copy integrations for that specific custom event for that specific product, I think that's a way in which to leverage this. So that's one of the reasons why our team is kind of excited about it, provided that you do that work ahead of time. And Meta is going out and finding specific audiences for that product itself. And hopefully, because they're always going to include previous clients, previous customers, previous purchasers, going after the incremental sales for specific products as opposed to your entire catalog. So that's where we see this as maybe being an advantage. And so far, the initial testing has been really positive on it, but it does require some tech setup just to begin with. And
on that initial stuff, like, yeah, tech setup is a lot, but that's where like most of the times when we go into ad accounts, they're not feeding the data back into the algorithm correctly, just in general. But where I see this being great is for the business that's spending under $1,000 to $5,000 a day, and they have a smaller ad account. And so it's just making it easier, especially for those solopreneurs. And then I see this advantageous for those that are spending $1 million a month because they have enough data to have statistical significance. But I think the large majority of everyone else is between $1,000 and $1 million. of their ad spend a day. And this is just, I don't believe the reduction of control will be worth the eliminated effort. Because again, where we are, at least at Mongoose Media, I was all in on all things Advantage Plus last year and the very, very beginning of this year. And then come mid-January through now, we've just seen way stronger performance when eliminating the assumption that the AI will be correct. And since that's what the Advantage Plus is built upon, all I see this as is a streamlined user interface aspect of the Advantage Plus, which isn't working predominantly across our accounts. I mean, there's exceptions, of course, it depends. But the accounts that you're seeing that it's working on, I would venture to say that they either have significant ad spend or have done significant work to ensure that the information being uploaded into Meta is put correctly in.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is yet another way in which Meta is trying to get the smaller advertiser. However, at the flip side of that, it reinforces the importance of tracking specific events, custom events. And if you don't know what those are, we're going to put links in the show notes for that, obviously. But then vitally important, if it really is the way that Meta has been claiming it to be. And we were at a conference 2 weeks ago. One of my guys was at a conference. He actually spoke with the Meta representative about this. He said, it's really important now more than ever to have creative that hits people at the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. You don't know which one is going to resonate based upon where they are in your customer journey, because you just load it all up and then we'll decide, which is a frightening thought right there. However, if it works at the end of the day in getting and acquiring new customers, and our initial tests show us with this new Advantage Plus setting with custom events, that's the key. We are seeing lower NCAC numbers, lower new cost to acquire customer numbers. But obviously, we've got the advantage of using the Tier 11 data suite, which the data is really pure, and it's matching up with inside the CRM. So initial tests look good, but the jury, from my standpoint, still out. But I don't think they're rolling this one back, Lauren. Like, they come out with these things and all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait a second, we didn't really mean it. Like, they're serious on this. They've been telegraphing this for a long time. And if you go back, and we'll leave a link in the show notes, to February 4th, they issued a press release. We heard about it. I was at a conference a year and a half ago, and they basically said, hey, we're going to do like 30 different Advantage Plus campaigns, but then we're going to consolidate them down into one.
I heard about this and had a image I cannot share, but I have something from like 2018, 2019. That was along this line completely. And it's this implication. I mean, we knew back then they were talking about like the Power 5, I think is what the Meta team had been doing. But this was like where the Power 5 is and where the Power 5 is going. And it's exactly what this is right now. But where I think they're going to scale it back is I really think the large majority, those that aren't small or those that aren't massive, are going to need to have some levels of control, because this is going to give the illusion that you're going to have stronger conversions. And like, I'm all for specific on the product, especially when you have a big SKU store and you have very many different ICPs, like your ideal customer profiles. I just don't trust it. We'll see. But the custom conversions, where you're saying, is so key for those in the health, the political, and the finance space who've already lost all those bottom of funnel conversions. Like, you can't even generate a lead unless you're doing custom conversions. Like, that has to be the workaround for what they rolled out the beginning of this year for those audiences. So the custom conversions coming back, people let them go. They stop building custom conversions, so they're not even tracking how many people are progressing through the funnel. So I agree that like that's coming back, but the overall is, if Meta's going to streamline the Advantage Plus side and some of that campaign creation, we have to go back and do the foundational pieces, which ensures that we're telling data into Meta of what we actually want.
I think it's going to be an evolving story here. It hasn't even been fully rolled out yet. Some accounts it is, some it isn't. So it's still early days here, but obviously we'll keep you updated. And that's the reason why you should be listening to the show twice weekly and making sure that you stay on top of all these changes and how it affects you as a marketer, trying to navigate this complicated digital marketing landscape, Lauren Petrullo. So if you like this show, you want to leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts, certainly do so. We'd love to have that. We love those 5-star ratings and the comments over on Spotify, especially. We're getting some good feedback there. We actually caught like an editing mistake based upon a comment. Not that we make any mistakes in editing, because we never do. but this just so happened to slip through. The point is, wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a rating and a review. Really appreciate that. Of course, everything we talked about here today, all the references, especially with all the changes with Meta, will be in the show notes over at perpetualtraffic.com. And to see the screen share, head on over to the YouTube channel, perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. But you already subscribed to that, so I don't have to say that or at every time. So on behalf of my amazing co-host, Lauren Petrullo,
Ciao.
till next show, see ya.